Hello everyone! Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you a story that completely changed my life and that you won't believe. Leave a comment in the comments about where you're watching it from and if you've ever been through something similar, because you'll relate. This is the story of how my stepmother tried to humiliate me on my 22nd birthday in front of the whole family. But what she didn't know was that my biological mother was coming with a secret that would change everything forever. But before I start, if you like this kind of content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps me a lot. Now, to understand how we got here, I need to go back in time a little. My name is Sarah Chen. I'm 22 years old and I live in Portland, Oregon. My family history is complicated. My biological mother, Lisa, had me when I was only 18. She was an artist, a dreamer, but also too young and immature to raise a child on her own. When I was 5, my parents divorced. It was too traumatic for a child. I remember lying awake at night listening to the fights, the screams. My mother ended up moving to Los Angeles to follow her artistic dreams, and I stayed with my father here in Portland. For 2 years, it was just me and my dad, David. He worked as an engineer and did his best to take care of me, but I felt that something was missing. When I was 7, he met Linda. Linda was, how can I put it, the complete opposite of my mother. While my mother, Lisa, was spontaneous and creative, Linda was extremely organized, controlling and, in her words, practical. She worked as an HR manager in a technology company. At first, Linda even tried to be nice to me, but after she and my father got married when I was 8, things changed completely. Growing up with Linda was difficult. She always made me feel like I was a burden, like I was a constant reminder of the mistake my father had made with my mother. Anything I did that reminded her of my biological mother was immediately criticized. If I drew or showed an interest in art, Linda said it was a waste of time and that I shouldn't follow my mother's path. If I was too spontaneous, she said I was irresponsible like Lisa. My father tried to keep the peace. He loved me, I knew that, but he was also clearly in love with Linda and didn't want to confront her. So, most of the time, he stayed silent when she criticized me. During my high school years, I excelled academically. I got excellent grades, took part in extracurricular activities, and was an exemplary daughter. But none of this seemed to be enough for Linda. She always found something to criticize. Do you know people like that? That no matter what you do, it's never enough? Let us know in the comments if you've experienced this. When I turned 21, something happened that changed my perspective on everything. I had gotten a partial scholarship to Portland State University, where I was studying digital communication. I was proud of myself, working part-time to make ends meet and maintaining good grades. On that birthday, my biological mother called me. She had called sporadically over the years, but this time it was different. Lisa told me that she was financially stable for the first time in years, working as a graphic designer in LA, and that she wanted to start rebuilding our relationship. I was hesitant, but also curious. We started chatting via messages and video conferences on a regular basis. For the first time in years, I felt connected to someone who really understood me. Linda obviously didn't like this closeness. She made passive-aggressive comments about my mother, saying things like, "I hope you don't believe her promises," or, "You know she's going to let you down again, right?" But I was determined to give my mother a chance, and that brings me to the day that changed everything. My 22nd birthday was coming up, and for the first time in years, I was excited. My mother, Lisa, had told me she wanted to give me a special present, something she had been saving for me for years. She said she would come to Portland to deliver it to me personally. Linda, of course, was not at all happy about this idea. She insisted on organizing a proper birthday party at our house, inviting a few relatives and family friends. I suspected that she wanted to control the situation so that, if my mother turned up, she could minimize the impact. My father, as always, tried to mediate. "Sarah, it would be nice to have a party here at home. You can invite your friends from college, too." He seemed genuinely excited by the idea. I agreed, but on one condition: my mother was invited. Linda was visibly annoyed, but she couldn't object directly without seeming cruel. "Of course," she said with a forced smile, "if she actually shows up." Over the next few weeks, the tension at home was palpable. Linda was organizing the party with military efficiency, but I could see that she was stressed. She made constant comments about how some people can't be trusted and how I should have realistic expectations. I kept talking to my mother, Lisa, who assured me that she would be there. She seemed different this time, more mature, more stable. She told me about her work, about how she had started therapy to deal with past mistakes. "Sarah, I know I can't go back in time," she told me during one of our video chats, "but I want to try to be the mother you deserve even if it's too late." I was starting to believe her, but I was also nervous. What if Linda was right? What if my mother let me down again? March 15th arrived, my birthday. I woke up early, anxious and excited at the same time. Linda was already in the kitchen, preparing things for the party that would take place in the afternoon. "Good morning, birthday girl," my father said, giving me a warm hug. "How does it feel to be officially a 22-year-old adult?" "Old," I joked, and he laughed. Linda greeted me with a strained smile. "Happy birthday, Sarah. I hope it's a memorable day." During the morning, I helped with the final preparations. Linda had invited my aunt and uncle, some neighbors, and a few family friends. I invited my 3 best friends from college, Jake, Mia, and David. Yes, the same name as my father, which always caused confusion. Around 11 a.m., my phone rang. It was my mother. "Hi, my beautiful. Happy birthday." Her voice was excited, but I could detect a note of nervousness. "Thanks, Mom. Are you still coming to the party?" "Of course. Actually, I'm already here in Portland. I'm at the hotel getting ready." "Sarah, I have something very important to give you today. Something that will explain a lot about what happened in the past." My heart raced. "What is it?" "You'll see when I get there. I love you, daughter. See you at 3. I hung up the phone with a mixture of excitement and anxiety. Linda had heard my conversation and was looking at me with an expression I couldn't decipher. The party started at 2 p.m. My college friends arrived first, bearing gifts and lots of good humor. Jake gave me a book on digital storytelling that I had mentioned wanting. Mia brought a cute succulent plant, and David gave me a gift certificate to my favorite coffee shop. My aunt and uncle arrived soon after, Uncle Mark and Aunt Susan on my dad's side, along with my teenage cousins Emma and Tyler. A few neighbors also showed up, making the house quite busy. Linda was being the perfect hostess, but I could see that she was constantly checking her watch. She was clearly hoping that my mother wouldn't show up so that she could say, "I told you so." At 2:45, my father gave a little impromptu speech about how proud he was of the woman I had become. It was sweet, but I was distracted, looking out of the window for any sign of my mother. My mother approached me, holding the wooden box. "Sarah, this present is very special. It's something that belonged to your great-grandmother, my grandmother Rose. She gave it to me before she died, with specific instructions that it should be passed on to you when you turn 22. The box was beautiful, dark wood with hand-carved details. It looked old and valuable. "Mom, it's too beautiful. You didn't need it." "Yes, I did. Open it." With my hands trembling slightly, I opened the box. Inside were several things: an old piece of jewelry, a pearl necklace that seemed to be a family heirloom, some yellowed letters, and some documents that I couldn't immediately identify. "How beautiful!" Mia exclaimed, looking over my shoulder. I picked up the pearl necklace. It was absolutely stunning, clearly old and valuable. "Grandma Rose wore this necklace on her wedding day in 1952, my mother explained. "And my mother wore it at her wedding, too. I always wanted you to wear it when the time came." I was thrilled, but also confused. "Mom, this is so beautiful, but why didn't you give it to me before, and what are these documents?" It was at that moment that Linda approached. "How dramatic," she said loud enough for everyone to hear. "She shows up after years and wants to make Mother of the Year with some old trinkets." The silence in the room was deafening. My mother looked at Linda with an expression I had never seen before. "Sorry, I don't think we've met properly," Lisa said, holding out her hand. "I'm Lisa Chen, Sarah's mother." "I know who you are," Linda replied, ignoring the outstretched hand. I'm Linda Wilson, Sarah's real mother of 14 years. And that's when everything fell apart. What happened next was like watching a car crash in slow motion. Linda, clearly irritated by my mother's presence and perhaps feeling threatened, completely lost control. "You know what, Lisa? I'm tired of this bullshit," Linda said, her voice getting louder. "You abandoned your daughter for 15 years, and now you show up with some old costume jewelry thinking you're going to be Mother of the Year? Linda, please." My father tried to intervene, but she stopped him. "No, David. Someone has to tell the truth here. Sarah, do you want to know why your mother really abandoned you? It wasn't because she was too young or immature. It was because she was..." But before Linda could finish, something surprising happened. She advanced towards the wooden box that was still in my hands. "This nonsense shouldn't even be worth anything," she shouted, trying to grab the box. Instinctively, I pulled the box back, but Linda had already grabbed part of it. In the struggle, some of the documents fell to the floor, and then... crack! Linda, in her rage, purposely stepped on the pearl necklace that had fallen, and then picked up one of the cards on the floor and tore it in half in front of everyone. "Beautiful!" my father shouted, clearly shocked. The room fell absolutely silent. Even my teenage cousins were staring with their mouths open. But that's when my mother Lisa did something I never expected. Instead of shouting back or despairing, she simply smiled. A calm, almost relieved smile. "Thank you, Linda," she said quietly. "You've just given me exactly what I needed." "What are you talking about?" Linda asked, clearly confused. My mother bent down and calmly picked up the documents that had fallen to the floor. She picked up a specific envelope and opened it. "Sarah, love, sit down. I need to tell you something that will change everything." My heart was pounding so hard that I was sure everyone could hear it. I sat down on the sofa, with my friends crowding around me in support. "When I was 20, just after you turned 2, I received an incredible job offer in Los Angeles. It was my professional dream come true, but I didn't want to leave you." Linda snorted. "Of course not." "But," my mother continued, ignoring Linda, "someone convinced me that it would be better for you if I went. Someone told me that you'd be happier and more stable without me in your life." She looked directly at Linda. "Someone offered me money to leave and never come back." The silence in the room was so deep that you could hear a pin drop. "That's a lie!" Linda shouted, but her voice was shaky. "Is it?" my mother asked, taking a document out of the envelope. "Because I have here a copy of the check you gave me. $5,000 in exchange for disappearing from Sarah's life for her own good." She showed the paper to the whole room. I could see it clearly. It was a copy of a check from 2008, signed by Linda Wilson, made out to Lisa Chen. "And I also have here," she continued, pulling out another piece of paper, "a copy of the letter you wrote to me, explaining how selfish it would be of me to want to stay in Sarah's life when you could give her the stability she needed." My world was falling apart. I looked at my father, who was pale as a ghost. "David, did you know about this?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. I... He was clearly in shock. "He didn't know," my mother said gently. "Linda made me promise never to tell him. She said that if I did, she'd make him stop me having any contact with you forever." "I was young and scared," my mother continued. "I believed Linda when she told me it would be better for you. I took the money and went to Los Angeles, but not because I didn't love you. I went because I thought I was doing what was best for you." Tears were streaming down my face. "Then why didn't you come back before?" "Because I spent 15 years believing that I had done the right thing. It was only when I started therapy last year that I realized what had really happened. I didn't leave you, Sarah. I was manipulated into believing that leaving you was an act of love." I looked at Linda, who was now visibly distraught. That's not true. I was protecting you, Sarah. Your mother was unstable. That's enough, Linda." My father's voice was firm for the first time I could remember. "Enough." He approached me and took my hands. "Sarah, I didn't know any of this. If I'd known, I would never have let it happen." He looked at my mother with tears in his eyes. "Lisa, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Guys, I know this is a lot to process, I'm still processing it all. But the story doesn't end here. After the whole truth came out, Linda left the party and our house. My father immediately asked her to leave and said he needed time to think about their marriage. My mother stayed a few more days in Portland, and we spent hours talking, getting to know each other again. She showed me photos from the last 15 years, told me about her work, her relationships, her regrets. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. We still had a lot of work to do to rebuild our relationship, but for the first time in 15 years, I felt I had my mother back. And the pearl necklace? My mother managed to fix it. I wear it all the time now as a reminder that the truth always comes out, even if it takes years. So, guys, that's my story. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you've ever experienced a situation of family manipulation like this. Sometimes, the people who say they're protecting us are exactly the ones we need to protect ourselves from. Don't forget to like the video if you liked the story, subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and activate the bell so you don't miss any new videos. And remember, the truth always has a way of coming out. See you in the next video.